This video is brought to you by Squarespace. This is why you shouldn't move to Japan. So many people tell me that they want to move to Japan, which I completely understand because I love it here. I love the food, the culture, and how safe it is, well, relatively speaking. But obviously, not everything is perfect in Japan. It's a small island with a lot of people living close together, especially in the cities, so there has to be some compromise. I think some foreigners moving to Japan don't come in with that compromised mindset and are rudely surprised when things aren't as they expected. So I wanted to make this video so I can share with you some issues that foreigners complain about when living in Japan. So maybe I can help manage your expectations before you decide to move your entire life to Japan, just to later realize that Japan wasn't for you. But like always, before I start, if you want to see what I'm doing on the daily, check out my Instagram account. If you want to help support the channel, check out the merch. And if you have any questions about Japan or your Japan travels, check out the Discord community. Oh, and let me know in the comments if any of these are deal breakers for you to move to Japan, or if you think some of these issues are not worth complaining about. Alright, let's get started. Number 1, homes are small and expensive. Well, it's kind of true that homes in Japan are a little bit small, especially when compared to Western homes. But it's important to understand that in densely populated cities like Tokyo, space is limited, and the limiting factor would be rent. For example, a 1DK apartment, meaning one room, dining, and kitchen area, about 25 to 30 square meters in Tokyo's 23 wards, would be on average about $780 per month. That's $780 in US measurements. That would be about $780 for 270 to 320 square meters. On top of that, you may be paying a 2 months deposit, 2 months key money, 1 month agent fee, plus miscellaneous fees averaging between 5.5 to 7 months of rent before you're even handed the keys to your apartment. And for some foreigners, that's just too much to be paying for that size of apartment. Number 2, clothing sizes too small. Not only do some foreigners complain about apartments being too small, they also complain about clothing. Obviously, many Japanese clothing stores market to Japanese people who are on average relatively smaller in stature when compared to foreigners. So when larger foreigners try to find larger sizes in Japan, it's usually unavailable. But you may get lucky with a few select stores, and there are big and tall stores that cater to larger size people, but usually they're not as fashionable. Interestingly, it's easier to find helmet sizes. In fact, I got this one last year. I was pleasantly surprised that Japanese helmets are sized larger than what I was used to in the US. For example, in Japan, a small size helmet is equivalent to a US large size. Go figure. Anyway, if you're a larger size foreigner, then be prepared. Number 3, no return policy. Now, if you purchased any products from bookstores, electronic stores, furniture stores, etc., you generally can't return things in Japan unless there's a product defect, and even then, sometimes it's quite a hassle. Apparel shops, though, are a bit different, and it really depends on the store. Some are okay with it, some are not. But in general, Japan doesn't have that shopping culture where you buy it, take it home, try it out, and bring it back with a tag if you don't like it. Number 4, too much paperwork. Although Japan has gotten a little bit better over the last few years, Japan is still notorious for paper pushing, especially when it comes to official registration forms such as with the local city hall, creating a bank account, and even signing up for a home internet connection. A lot of it must be done in person or submitted via post, as paper documents need to be officially signed or Hanko stamped. Basically, Japan still hasn't caught up to the digital age yet. Number 5, Japanese forms are not foreigner friendly. So when some foreigners finally start filling out bank forms or any other forms in general, then they soon find out that some of the forms don't have enough boxes to fill out their name, especially if they have a longer name, and even worse, if they have a middle name. See, Japanese don't have middle names, and they're usually only a few characters long. So when Japanese created their forms, they never anticipated providing enough space for foreigners, which creates a lot of problems down the line, especially especially when foreigners are trying to make transactions. The other party can't verify who the foreigner is because their half-written down bank name doesn't match their government-issued ID. Furthermore, as many businesses have moved online, you'll find the same issue with online forms that require you to enter Japanese characters for your name, or again, not having enough boxes to fill out your full name. It's a real headache for some foreigners, and it lasts their entire stay here in Japan. Number 6, small food portions. So portions served in Japan are generally smaller because Japanese tend to eat smaller meals. This is one part of Japan that some foreigners can't get used to when living here, and each meal becomes a cause for complaint. But look on the bright side, Japan has one of the lowest obesity rates in the world at only 4.3% compared to say the US at 36.2%. All I can say is that if you're really in the need for some more food, just order another plate. Before we continue, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for this video today, Squarespace. If you watch any of my videos, then you already know, but if you don't, Squarespace is my go-to for building my online presence. Here are some of the things that I love the most about using Squarespace.
Squarespace has uniquely awesome templates, making it easy to start, and better yet, they have some pretty awesome tools to help you along the way. For example, they have portfolios and galleries to display all of your projects. And Squarespace has powerful blogging tools to tell your story, share your updates, photos, and videos. And if you're an analytics nerd like me, you can see how your visits, unique visitors, and page views trend over time, helping you to build a better website as you go.
So go to squarespace.com today for your free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Paolo from Tokyo and get 10% off your first domain or website. That said, let's continue on with the list. Number 7, mandatory car inspections. So many foreigners that end up living outside of the city in Japan are gonna end up getting a car, and when they do, they're gonna need to get shaken, which is a mandatory vehicle inspection conducted to confirm whether a car meets Japanese safety standards. The initial inspection is effective for 3 years, and renewal inspections are required every 2 years. The inspection costs about $960 each time for a standard car. The fee is always the same no matter the value of the car, and even if the car is perfectly maintained by the owner, the inspection is still required. After 10 years, the requirements become even stricter, and some foreigners complain about this as well, despite every car owner in Japan having to do this every year. Number 8, social conformity. Well, surprise, surprise, many Japanese don't want to stick out from the group. So there's a heavy social pressure to be part of the group, which is very difficult for some foreigners to accept. Take work for example. Many Japanese offices will ask their employees to drink after work with a team. Most will attend despite not wanting to in order to avoid being an outsider. Some foreigners argue that you lose your individuality in this case, but at the same time, this type of conformity has shown some advantages as most people in Japan this year have been compliant with wearing masks. That said, foreigners who have trouble working with a group, or the ones who don't notice how important it is to conform to the group, may have trouble living in Japan. Number 9, weak drugs. Some foreigners will claim that over-the-counter Japanese pain medication is not as strong as their home country. But from my experience, it's probably more an issue with dosage than strength. For example, take this box of Japanese ibuprofen. Each pill is 200 milligrams, and it says take 1 capsule every 4+ hours up to a max of 3 capsules in 1 day. While this US bottle of ibuprofen also has 200 milligram capsules, and it says take 1 capsule every 4 to 6 hours. But if the pain or fever is not reduced, 2 capsules may be used, up to 6 capsules in 24 hours. So in general, Japanese medicines prescribe lower dosages than what some foreigners may be used to. But there may be an argument for over-the-counter pain medication in Japan to be more expensive. This 240 capsule ibuprofen bottle from the US costs about $15, and this 24 capsule ibuprofen box from Japan costs about $14. So in general though, when comparing prices from Japan to other countries like the US, Japan is usually more expensive. So if you're gonna live here, you just gotta get used to the prices. And number 10, late releases. When it comes to overseas products such as technology, apparel, and even movies, it usually comes to Japan months, sometimes years after its original release, and a lot of times it never even makes it to the Japanese market. That's just how it is. At the end of the day, when you live in Japan, you're just going to have to appreciate Japanese products. And overall, when you're living in Japan, you're just going to need to accept how Japan does things even though it's different from your country. And if it's gonna be difficult for you to do that, then you probably shouldn't move to Japan. If you like this video, help me out and hit that like button. Again, if anything stuck out to you, let me know in the comments. And if you guys want to see more of these type of videos, Japan guides, food videos, hit that subscribe button and the bell button, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.